September 27th, 2026. A normal morning in Tehran. Traffic moved through the streets. Government officials entered a heavily guarded compound. Deep inside the building, Iran's most powerful leaders gathered for a secret meeting. What they didn't know was that someone had been watching them for months. And within hours, Tehran would explode. For years, Iran believed its leadership was untouchable, protected by underground bunkers, advanced radar systems, and one of the strongest defense networks in the Middle East. But according to international reports, a covert intelligence operation had already penetrated far deeper than anyone realized. This wasn't just about missiles or fighter jets. This was a war built on surveillance, information, and timing. And once the target was confirmed, there was no turning back. Tehran looked calm that morning. Shops opened, cars filled the highways, people walked through the city like any other day. But behind the scenes, intelligence agencies across the world focused on one building in the center of the capital. Reports detected unusual movement inside the compound. High-ranking military officials, senior advisors, security commanders. And most importantly, signs that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, might be inside. That information changed everything. For months, surveillance teams had been trying to answer one question. Where exactly was the target? Now, they believed they finally had the answer. But before any strike could happen, another phase had to begin. The operation didn't start with bombs. It started with data. According to intelligence analysts, months of cyber infiltration had already taken place. Communication systems were monitored. CCTV networks were compromised. Satellite tracking intensified around government compounds. Every movement mattered. Every vehicle mattered. Every security shift mattered. The goal wasn't immediate destruction. The real goal was certainty. Because in modern warfare, information can be more powerful than weapons. Slowly, Iran's strongest defenses began turning into weaknesses. The more predictable the leadership became, the more vulnerable they became. But Tehran still believed its defenses could stop anything. That confidence would soon be tested. Iran's capital was built to survive attacks. Radar systems surrounded the city. Air defense batteries stood ready across strategic locations. Underground facilities protected key officials. For years, those systems were considered nearly impossible to break through. That's why the next phase of the operation was so dangerous. Instead of attacking the main target immediately, the strategy focused on confusion. Reports of explosions began appearing across Tehran. Military forces rushed to respond. Radar systems shifted focus. Air defense units scrambled across multiple locations at once. And while attention was pulled in every direction, something much larger was already moving toward the city. Nearly 200 fighter jets reportedly launched as part of a coordinated aerial assault. Suddenly, the situation inside Tehran changed from tension to panic. At first, many civilians believed the explosions were limited military clashes. But the attacks kept getting closer. Closer to the heavily protected government complex. Closer to the underground shelters. Closer to the leadership itself. Inside the compound, officials reportedly still didn't believe the situation had reached full emergency status. That may have been the biggest mistake of the entire operation. According to later analysis, key leaders were not located in the deepest underground shelter available. Instead, they remained inside a more accessible underground facility. Maybe they underestimated the threat. Maybe there wasn't enough time to relocate. But that single decision may have changed history. Once intelligence teams confirmed the leadership was inside that exact location, the operation entered its final stage. And then, everything happened at once. Massive explosions ripped through the area. Security infrastructure collapsed within seconds. Shockwaves echoed across Tehran as smoke rose above the capital. The compound, once considered untouchable, was reduced to rubble. Many inside reportedly never understood what was happening before the strike hit. Across the city, confusion turned into fear. This was no longer just another military attack. It was a direct strike against the heart of Iran's leadership. As rescue teams rushed toward the destroyed complex, the scale of the attack became impossible to hide. Reports claimed several high-ranking military and security officials had been killed. The same meeting meant to shape Iran's future security strategy became the center of one of the most devastating attacks in modern Middle Eastern history. And as smoke covered Tehran's skyline, one terrifying reality became clear. If a country's most protected location could be reached, nowhere was truly safe anymore. By nightfall, Tehran had changed forever. Anger spread across Iran. Political leaders condemned the attack as a violation of sovereignty. Tensions across the region skyrocketed. But history has shown something important. Destroying buildings is easy. Breaking the spirit of a nation is far more difficult. Because while explosions last only seconds, their consequences can shape the world for decades.